I'm going to be doing the week 5 recipes for B55 with Chef Mara. I have the recipes for 123 cookie dough, cranberry pecan tart, chantilly cream, almond tart, apple almond tart, sorry, frangipane filling, pate brisée, pastry cream, cinnamon sugar, and apricot glaze or apricot glaze, whichever one you want to go ahead and say. So for the cinnamon sugar and apricot glaze, Chef will be making those, but I added in these two recipes at the very end. You can skip those if you want. We have the pastry cream at 0.17 of a batch, pate brisée, which is 0.16 of a batch, uh, frangipane filling, which is 0.33 of a batch, apple almond tart, which is one batch, chantilly cream, batch not provided, so I put NA, cranberry pecan tart, which is one batch, and the 123 cookie dough, which is 1/6 of a batch. In every single one of these sections, you will go ahead and have the original, and then whatever original amount weight, how many tarts you make, will always be at the top of these sections. Then we have what the batch is. I have it provided down here, but I also have it up here that you can see. And then we have the wanted. The wanted would be what we're going to put on our little notes in order to bring into class. So what over here I did was to write down the ingredients. So the ingredients for the 123 cookie dough are sugar, butter, vanilla extract, eggs, and cake flour. The US metric given to us, or the US weight given to us for these ingredients, would be 1 pound, 2 pounds, 1 tablespoon, 6 ounces, 3 pounds. And the metric would be 450 grams, 910 grams, 15 milliliters, 230 grams, and 1.36 kilograms. The working metric is what I used in order to continue on. So in order to get the working metric, I would convert everything into grams. So 15 milliliters would be 15 grams. And 1.36 kilograms would turn into 1,360 grams. So for this example, because we're given a fraction, we're going to choose divide by, and the number I chose to divide by was 6. And you can tell that because inside the original fraction that we're given, for the batch number is 1/6. So we're going to divide everything by the denominator, which is the bottom number of the fraction, which is 6. So once we divide everything by 6, our outcome will be turned into grams. So 75 grams, 151.66 grams, 2.5 grams, 38.33 grams, and 26.66 grams. This is not our final number. Our final number has to be whole numbers, so no decimals. We're not working with money. So we finally go rounding. So we round all of these numbers. Again, 5 or more up the score, 4 or less let it rest. So 75 stays the same because there's no decimals. 151.66 turns into 152 grams. 2.5 grams turns into 3. 38.33 goes into 38 grams. And 226.66 goes into 227 grams. What you are going to place on your notes are the ingredients and the final rounding weights, grams, digits, whatever you want to call them. So again, we're going to put these and these on your class note cards. Cranberry pecan tart. We're going to start with the same original measurements is 1 tart, and then how big the tart is going to be. 1 batch. The wanted batch is going to be 1 tart, so same as the original recipe. Here we have the ingredients. the US measurements, and the grams, which were all given to us in the packet. For the grams, making sure that there's no milliliters or kilograms or anything like that. And we're transferring all of these into our working metric. And our working metric, because it's already inside the wanted is a 1 batch of tart, which is the original measurement, we're not going to have a working metric, because if we were going to go ahead and put all of this into the working metric only to divide or multiply by 1, we would get the same number as over here. So for this one, these are what you're going to place on your notes for in class. Chantilly cream. So for the Chantilly cream, we have the original, which is 8 ounces, 230 grams. We don't know what we're multiplying or dividing by, so wanted, I put NA, but really this is going to be a wanted times 1 batch. So here we have heavy cream, confectioner's sugar, vanilla extract, US, and metric. If you want, you can go ahead and say that 5 milliliters, the same as 5 grams. So for right now, do not quote me on this, but for your notes, this is what you're going to have on it. Oh. So this would be what you would have on your notes if this was a 1 batch. For the apple almond tart, let's do this in advance. We have your ingredients. Again, this is a 1 batch, so everything at the very end is going to be multiplied by 1. All of this is based on the packet again, so you just need to have the ingredients and the metric on your note cards. Now here's where we start getting into a really weird place. We have the original, this is the French pound filling. We have the original, which is 2 pounds and 5.5 ounces, 1.08 kilograms, or 1080 grams. This is going to be a 0.33 batch, and our wanted is going to be 12 ounces. So these are all of our ingredients. This is our US, metric, and for the metric, making sure there's no milliliters or kilograms. And we move on to our working metric. Just transferring all the numbers straight across. And since we have all of our grams, we can just multiply by the batch, which is going to be 0.33. And if you multiply across 450 times 0.33, you get 148.5. This is our outcome from these two things multiplied together. Now, of course, we can't have any sort of decimal when we're measuring, so what we're going to do is round 5 or more up the score, 4 or less let it rest. And here's our final outcomes for the grams that we need for the notes. Ooh. Control C and Control V. And this is what you would be writing on your notes or on your note cards for class. Pâte brisée. We have all the ingredients. the US, metric. If you remember a long time ago, to convert 1.02 kilograms into grams, 1020, you need to have 3 digits after the decimal point. So now that we converted that, we're going to put our working metric. So everything is in grams, I just didn't include the grams. Multiply it by the batch, which is 0.16. And then we have our outcome. So 0.20 times 10.20, times 0.16 is equal to 163.2. 20 times 0.16 is 3.2, and so on and so forth. And lastly, we're going to round 5 or more up the score for our last little rest. And here's what you're going to be using for the note cards. Now we're doing the pastry cream. This is a 0.17 batch. We already have our ingredients, US metric. Let's see. Our US metric, and as you can see right here at the very bottom, we have a choice between vanilla extract and vanilla beans for the seeds only. We have 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 1 bean that we could use, which is equal to 15 milliliters, or 1 bean, and a milliliter is equal to 1 gram. So 15 grams or 1 bean. A pinch will stay a pinch. And now we have our working metric. As you can see, it's the same exact numbers except without the grams behind it. And we multiply by the batch number. So everything is going to be multiplied by 0.17. So 910 times 0.17 is equal to 154.7, and then all the way down. As you can see right here, I did not include the 1 bean because we will probably not be using a whole bean inside our actual class. So I'm sticking with the milliliters, grams, tablespoons, whatever you want to call it. So 0.17 is equal to 2.55. And of course, again, these are all decimals. So we round and get whole numbers. These are what we will be putting on the notes. Now for this one, Chef will be making, but just in case she wants us to go ahead and write these down on note cards, we have the ingredients: sugar and ground cinnamon. Original is 9 ounces or 260 grams. Wanted is 20 ounces. The way to get this batch number is going to be wanted over original is equal to batch size. So over here we're going to put 20 divided by 9. So 20 ounces divided by 9 ounces is equal to 2.22. So for the batch is going to be 2.22. Now going back to the actual stuff, ingredients, the US metric, and our working numbers is the metric without the grams. Multiply this by the batch, and then straight across we get decimals and not whole numbers, and then we round. Ooh. So for this recipe, this is what we're going to put on our flashcards. Lastly, we have the apricot glaze, which chef will make. Again, this is just in case. We have the original 24 fluid ounces, 720 milliliters, or 720 grams. This is a 30 batch, or a 30 size, I should say. And again, we got the batch number by doing wanted divided by original, so 30 divided by 24 to get 1.25 of a batch. We have the ingredients, the US and metric, which were provided inside the pamphlet. And then again, working metric is just the metric without the grams multiplied by the batch. Straight across we get outcomes. And you see the outcomes are again decimals. So we go to rounding. 425 grams and 425 grams will stay the same, but everything else will be rounded up or down depending on the decimal. Everything is rounded up for this one. So we go here, here. And this is what you will be writing for your ingredients and measurements on your note cards.